Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, the annoying voice of podcasting, and you're listening to the non-annoying Three Guys in a Flick.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Say when.
Why, Kate, you're not wearing a bustle.
Three guys and a flick with Don, Ken, and John. Dive into the movies well after the dawn. From the good to the bad to the wildly absurd. They give a fuck about films. Their voices are heard.
Welcome back. You are listening to Three Guys in a Flick. This is where we review the good, the bad, and the absurd. Tonight's episode, Tombstone. Beware spoilers. Coming to you from the Oriental Saloon in Tombstone, Arizona, my name is Don. And to my right, we have the comic book guy. This is John.
Oh, Donnie, I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now.
And to my left, we have the professor, Ken.
Say when.
When what?
Now? Tonight, we are talking about Tombstone. We chose Tombstone because Val Kilmer recently passed away, and we wanted to pay tribute because we grew up watching his movies. And speaking for myself, he was one of those characters that I always remembered growing up, and I've always liked me a Val Kilmer movie. It's a sad loss. And so I think Tombstone is probably in his top 2 performances. And so what better way to honor him than by doing Tombstone?
Before we get into Tombstone, do you have a favorite Val Kilmer movie? Put you on the spot.
Probably Tombstone.
Professor?
Probably Tombstone as well, but close second, Top Gun.
Oh, close second for me is Real Genius.
Oh, he's so fun in that.
Yeah.
I was going to go Tombstone and Real Genius.
Yeah.
Those
yeah,
are two
absolutely.
pretty close.
And I mean, he's great in almost everything he did, right? Willow wasn't a great movie, but he was a fun character. He was really good in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I mean, there's a Heat.
Yep.
He's not in it a lot, but he's pretty strong on it.
You're not naming Batman though.
Oh, that's right. He was Batman, wasn't he?
With the bat
well,
nipples.
lucky for him, he is like 5th on my favorite Batman list. So there you go.
He's on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Did you know that Adam West played Doc Holliday in a TV show, 3 TV shows in the 1940s, and went on to do Batman? And Val Kilmer did Tombstone and played Doc Holliday and went on to be Batman because Joel Schumacher watched Val Kilmer in Tombstone and said, that's Batman.
Wow.
Fascinating, right?
Fascinating.
Did you guys see this in the theater?
I am highly confident that I did.
I did too. What about you?
Never been huge into Westerns, so no, I did not see it in the theater. I think the first time I saw it was when we actually tried to do this, on one of our earliest podcasts. I think it was like our 3rd episode, and it's one of those pods that was so bad it will never see the light of day.
Yes, this was our 3rd attempt at a podcast, and I recently went back and listened to it, and yeah, that thing will never see the light of day. Released on December 25th, 1993, Tombstone was directed by George P. Cosmatos, written by Kevin Jarre, and it stars Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Michael Behan, Powers Boothe, Robert Burke, Dana Delaney, Sam Elliott, Billy Bob Thornton, Stephen Lang, Joanna Pacula, Bill Paxton, Jason Priestley, Michael Rooker, John Tinney, Billy Zane, Charlton Heston, and a bunch of other cowboys.
How'd this movie do, Don?
This movie was made for $25 million and brought in $73 million. So not too bad. This comes out in 1993, and Westerns aren't, they haven't been prevalent in a really long time. And it's really not until Dances with Wolves comes out that the trend for Westerns throughout the 90s. And this one actually, this one helps the movement very well, because after this you get things like Maverick and most notably Wyatt Earp, which is more of a Kevin Costner vehicle. Did you guys see Wyatt Earp?
I don't think I ever sat down to watch the whole thing. I saw some of it, but I don't think I saw all of it because it was a long watch.
I have not seen it either, but I did hear at one point they wanted Kevin Costner for this movie.
Yes.
And he refused because he wanted to make a Wyatt Earp TV show, like a TV series. And then that TV series got developed into the Wyatt Earp movie. So he ended up making his own Wyatt Earp movie.
I will say, out of the two films, I personally prefer Wyatt Earp over Tombstone.
Who directed Wyatt Earp?
Kevin Reynolds, I believe, which I think they went back in. No. I think it was Lawrence Kasdan.
Really?
Yes. Yes, I think it's Lawrence Kasdan. And it's twice as long as Tombstone, but I mean, it's much more in depth to Wyatt Earp, the character. I was going to ask what's your favorite Western, but I'm pretty sure this is the only Western you've seen, right?
No, he's seen another one.
I've seen a few.
Okay.
And I will say it's the reason probably that I really love this movie is Kurt Russell and Sam Elliott. Val Kilmer's good, but I love me some Kurt Russell.
Oh, come on. I mean, anyone who's ever listened to the podcast knows that
we gush.
Anyway, to answer your question, what is my favorite Western?
Yes, sir.
I might have to lean towards, well, there's obviously Blazing Saddles, but that's out. That's not my favorite. 100 Ways to Die in the West.
Oh, the Seth MacFarlane one?
Seth MacFarlane one.
Oh.
That's not surprising.
No, not at all. What about you, sir?
If I were to go with a favorite Western, Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
That's a solid choice.
Can I give a second one?
No.
What about you?
I would probably say The Unforgiven.
That's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
And it's older Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
And, I mean, good. The Dollars trilogy are fantastic.
Yeah, but
The Magnificent Seven is fantastic.
But the story in that works so well just because of where the man with no name had already been, and now here he is as an old man.
This movie is directed by George P. Cosmatos, which is funny because Kevin Jarre was actually the original director, the writer, and he lasted about a month. He got overwhelmed and way behind schedule. The producer's like, what the fuck is going on here? So they fire Jarre and they are looking for a director.
It wasn't a Sylvester Stallone that suggested him?
Yes, because Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell are buds. And Sylvester Stallone worked with Cosmatos on Rambo 2 and Cobra. So Cosmatos lands up directing the film.
But there's a rumor out there, and you can tell me if it's true.
It's not a rumor.
That he was just the face and the name. There was really a different person directing this movie. Who really directed this movie, and who was the creative control?
It was Kurt Russell. Russell made a deal with Cosmatos and Jarre saying that he would not say a word until they passed away. And it was maybe 10 years ago, Kurt Russell came out and Val Kilmer validated it that Tombstone would not be as successful as it was without Kurt Russell. And 93, he has pull in Hollywood as well. Speaking of Kurt Russell, we have reviewed a few Kurt Russell movies here on The Three Guys, and we just gush and love him. In his filmography, where does Tombstone lie?
It's near the top, but you obviously know what my favorite is.
Big Trouble in Little China.
That's my top one.
What about you there, Guy?
Maybe Tombstone. He is really sexy in this.
Yeah?
And he's such a badass.
It's the mustache, isn't it?
So it's his best. You think it's his best performance?
You know, off the cuff, that's where I'm thinking.
Yeah. I would say that for me, Tombstone falls probably like in the 10th spot. He's good. I mean, because he's fucking Kurt Russell. But, you know, I think that I like Cash better, Snake Plissken better, McCready better, Burton better. He's played so many great roles, but as Wyatt Earp, I thought he did a great job. I think Kevin Costner did it better, but yeah, he's about 10th in my list. The late great Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday.
I thought he did a fantastic job, especially since he was really trying to capture that Southern gentleman, and he got it. He did it.
Yeah, this is easily my favorite role for him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Followed closely by, I think, Iceman.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
So, Michael Behan, Johnny Ringo.
Well, I've got a favorite for him.
I do too. They might be the same.
Has to be Terminator for me. I know a lot of other people will say other movies, but I liked him in Terminator.
That's really good.
That is, but I was going to say Aliens.
He's good in that, but I think he's better in Terminator.
That's cool. Powers Boothe.
Powers Boothe usually plays the corrupt politician in a lot of movies, it seems, or just the corrupt bad guy. This one, he played a crazy guy, and I thought he did a good job.
Oh, I like Powers Boothe as the antagonist villain in this film. I thought and I love his fucking mustache. So,
what 2 movies of his did we review?
Sin City and Red Dawn.
Bam.
Yeah, and he was great in those as well. Of course, we cannot forget another Aliens alum, the late, great Bill Paxton.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was all right as Morgan. He didn't blow me away. He was kind of demure, but watching it now, I mean, it's Bill Paxton.
He's a background character, really.
Yeah, kind of. Next question. Favorite Bill Paxton movie?
He was a lot of fun in True Lies.
He was.
Is the slimy used car salesman.
Yeah. Aliens always comes to mind as well.
He's wonderful in Aliens. Yeah.
But I'm going to say, and this might be controversial,
you might be saying my same one.
My favorite Bill Paxton movie is Twister.
Oh,
he's fun in that.
Yeah, and that's what it is. He's fun, and I believe that he's that character.
For me, and I'm hoping someone will actually put it into the Broncos helmet, Weird Science.
Chet, the older brother.
God bless America,
I was already thinking about that.
That was a fantastic pull.
I was already thinking that.
Yeah, that might be my number 2. Of course, we cannot forget Sam Elliott.
The classic cowboy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he makes a cowboy movie. I mean, him and his mustache can do no wrong.
I agree. Favorite Sam Elliott flick?
I'll just throw it out there, Roadhouse.
Yeah, solid choice.
We Were Soldiers.
Oh, he's great in We Were Soldiers. Yeah.
Tough as nails.
Yeah. I'm going to have to say my favorite Sam Elliott role is Tombstone, maybe.
He's like number 2 for me.
He's fucking solid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Solid cast. I mean, you have Billy Zane, Michael Rooker, Jason Priestley, Charlton Heston. I mean, so many names. So, and I think this movie was cast very well.
Did you know Wyatt Earp's 5th cousin was actually in this movie?
Yeah, and he's Billy Claiborne, and I had to go back and look and figure out, because his IMDb picture's way older than he was when he was in the film. I think he's the one that Wyatt hits with the gun when they come pick up Ike at the station.
Yeah, that sounds right. He's one. So when Doc is on his 36-hour binge,
yes,
and Ike's all bent out of shape, you have the 2 brothers, and he's one of the brothers.
Right.
I guess another actor, Stephen Lang, who played Ike Clanton. According to the director, he was drunk the whole time they were filming.
Yeah, tequila for a 4-month shoot.
Now,
tequila.
Knowing that now and watching the movie, you can see it. He just looks drunk every scene.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I noticed that too. He's probably most famous now for Avatar and Don't Breathe.
He's in Don't Breathe. Oh, okay, got it.
Looks like I stumped you on some trivia there, bud.
For a moment.
Speaking of trivia, is it about that time, Ken?
Guys, are you ready for a little bit of trivia?
I'm your Huckleberry.
All right, question number 1. What is the saloon name of the place that Wyatt gets a claim in after arriving at Tombstone?
Done.
That was a tie. 1, 2, 3.
Oriental.
Yep, tie.
You motherfucker.
What is the name of the card game played that Wyatt oversees?
Don. Pharaoh?
Correct. Question number 3. How many cowboys end up fleeing from the gunfight behind the OK Corral?
Don. 1.
I am going to say 2.
You are both incorrect.
Is it 3?
It is 3.
Okay, so tie.
Question number 4. As Doc lies in bed and talks to Wyatt about Ringo, what does he tell Wyatt why Johnny wants revenge?
Don.
John.
Don.
Because he was born mad at the world and he wants revenge.
I thought it was just because he was born.
So The both answers are correct, but it is absolutely more concise with John. He says 2 words, being born.
Oh, okay.
So we're at a tie. So question number 5, I believe, is a tiebreaker. When Curly Bill meets Wyatt for the first time, how much money does he win?
John,
No, motherfucker.
John,
500.
500 is correct. And so for this round, it goes to John.
Congratulations, buddy. In 1879, a ruthless gang of outlaws known as the Cowboys, identified by their red sashes and led by Curly Bill Brocious, massacre Mexican lawmen in revenge for the deaths of 2 gang members. A priest warns them that their crimes will bring divine retribution. Meanwhile, Wyatt Earp, a retired lawman with a formidable reputation, arrives in Tombstone, Arizona with his brothers Virgil and Morgan to start a new life. They reunite with Wyatt's close friend, Doc Holliday, a skilled gambler and gunslinger battling tuberculosis. The Earp brothers invest in a saloon and encounter rising tensions with the Cowboys. Wyatt's common-law wife, Maddie Blaylock, battles laudanum addiction, while a touring actress, Josephine Marcus, catches Wyatt's eye. So this movie opens up with some old-timey photos, and we kind of get a rundown,
A narrative.
by one Robert Mitchum, and it kind of just paints the picture for us. We are in 1879. The Cowboys are the first, what did he call them?
Like organized crime.
Yeah, the first instance of organized crime in
I figure
America.
it was like the Blood and the Crips kind of thing.
I think they were thinking more like the mob.
Yeah.
Okay. The
yeah.
mob, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. Bloods and Crips.
Well, they were wearing red.
Yeah. And then we cut to a big wide shot, some horses, and we are about to crash a Mexican wedding. What did you guys think of this opening and the introduction to our villains?
I just remember the first time I saw this movie, I was confused as hell. I'm thinking, is this in Mexico? Like, why is this movie being filmed in Mexico? I thought it was supposed to be in Arizona.
I thought it was fun, because we get to see just how cold Curly Bill and Johnny Ringo are after the fact, and to have Johnny so quickly, shoot the priest. Holy moly!
Yeah.
Yeah, at first I thought when everything was going on, Johnny Ringo was kind of turning up his nose to it, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And then he shoots the priest. It's like, okay, now we know these are some bad guys.
Yeah.
And moments before we see the bride being hauled inside, she's not going to be shot right away.
No, but we heard the gunshots, which I think as an audience member made me feel a little bit better.
A little.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're introduced to the fucking bad guys. They are bad.
Yeah, they kill all those people and then go eat their
And then
food.
they eat their food. Yeah. Dicks. But it does tell us right away that Curly Bill kind of just doesn't care, but he's the leader and you will follow him. And Johnny is a loyal number 2 and he's educated because he speaks Spanish at least. And he obviously doesn't give a fuck because he pops the priest.
Right. He instantly berates one of the other members of the gang about how stupid he is that he didn't understand the priest.
Yeah, because the guy's Mexican and they're speaking Spanish.
Right.
Yeah.
But of course, we get our opening, in the opening, we get our foreshadowing for the whole movie, which is divine retribution is coming for them.
Yeah. On a horse, a white horse. It was from Revelations. So, yeah, I agree. Cut to a train station, and we are introduced to the man. What'd you think of his mustache?
Oh, badass.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you know all of the mustaches minus the guy who played Sheriff Bean were real? Those guys grew that shit out.
Yeah. It shows.
I think I want to do that. I think I want to grow my mustache out like that.
I thought about it.
Let's do it.
And we are introduced to just how tough as nails he is because he sees this guy abusing a horse.
And I love it. And he whips the guy, and his line is so perfect. Hurts, don't it?
Was that his horse? I was trying to figure out if that was his horse or if that was just a horse.
I'm not sure. I don't know if it was his horse or not, but I think it just shows us what kind of character Wyatt Earp is. So, which is funny because I think in real life he was a fucking dick.
Oh, he did some bad things, and we'll talk about that later.
Well, they all did. We'll just say that they all did.
Well, my understanding is that this movie it's loosely based on some of the incidents, and in general, there is a lot of this movie that isn't accurate at all.
Yeah.
They do say regarding Wyatt Earp, this is probably the most historically accurate version, but it's also based off of a lot of his and a lot of Doc Holliday's exaggerations.
So at the train station, we end up meeting the brothers. They show up as well, and it's a happy little reunion. And you get that little, let's take a mental picture of ourselves in the reflection of the train station window.
You know what I've noticed about this whole scene is how clean that train station is.
Totally. It didn't look like a Western station at all.
I mean, Hollywood Westerns, right? Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I tried to do a little research on Wyatt Earp. I didn't realize he had like 7 or 8 siblings.
He had 8 siblings. There were 9 total. And this movie leaves out 2 of his brothers.
Yeah.
James, who was actually married to a prostitute and worked at a brothel, but was injured in the war and was actually in Tombstone, but he didn't do anything. He was at home. And then their little brother, Warren, comes to Tombstone after Morgan gets killed to take him back to California.
Well, Warren actually also joins in the when they go off and kill all the cowboys, he joins in on that.
Yeah, after Morgan dies, he comes to Tombstone.
You said to bring back Morgan. I'm saying he actually
Oh, no,
stayed.
you're right. That was his intent, was to bring Morgan home.
Yeah.
But he tells Wyatt, I'm going to go with you.
Yeah.
Because you're right, he does. Absolutely. And then from there...
We cut to Doc, and he is doing a little bit of gambling.
Did you notice who the guy he's gambling against, who he was?
He looked like the one of the sheriffs that asked Wyatt on the train station platform earlier.
No, that's Frank Stallone. That's Sylvester Stallone's
Yes.
brother.
Yes.
I love this scene. I love this introduction and just everything about it.
That's a crazy amount of money that was on the pot in the middle.
I know.
Crazy amount.
Yeah.
You know, Ed, if I thought you weren't my friend, I just don't think I could bear it.
And I love when he takes out his guns, puts them on the table and says, there, now we can be friends again.
So wonderful.
Yeah.
So after they rob the place, then they decide, you know what, let's not worry about the luggage, and they head out. And then from there, we meet the Earps, and they are traveling to Tombstone, and they arrive in Tombstone.
And immediately Sheriff Bean comes up and introduces himself.
I love how throughout like this beginning parts, everyone is asking Wyatt Earp, like they ask him, and he's like, nope, I'm retired. Nope, before they even ask the question.
Yeah. He's done. He's done being a lawman.
Then we meet Fred White, the town marshal, and he kind of sort of gives us a little 30-second rundown, the elevator speech, if you will, about this is Tombstone.
Right. He's asking about the town, and Fred White's like, this, that, and the other, but saloons, that's where the money's at. And this place over here, the Oriental's a really nice place, but it's got bad element.
Yeah, it's a shithole.
Yeah. And so Wyatt moseys on in, and then he starts talking to the bartender. And this is where we get Billy Bob Thornton. Do you know he improv'd all of his lines?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, all of that's improv. And I thought he was great, And again, we get the toughness of one Wyatt Earp.
How many times did Wyatt Earp slap him?
3 times.
3 times. Good call.
Yeah. Are you going to do something? Or are you going to stand there and bleed?
And then right after he kicks him out, Wyatt, he just casually turns to Milt and he says, what do you say, Milt? 25% of the house takes sound about right?
And now they have a stake in the game at the Oriental.
I love the part where they go out and they're talking outside the Oriental about, Wyatt's saying we now have a stake and everything. And you see Doc get introduced. And in the background...
Well, actually, no, we have Johnny first. Doc is introduced by him yelling Johnny's name. Why, Johnny Tyler!
You madcap!
Doc?
I didn't know you was back in town. And Johnny Tyler figures out that this is fucking Wyatt Earp, right? And he's the man. He's got a reputation. I like how
Leave the rifle.
Yeah. And then he goes to hand it to him. And Wyatt's like, I said, leave it. And he does what he does. And I like how Johnny thanks him.
But what's precious is what is right before with Doc when he's like, "Oh, Johnny, I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now."
Oh, classic line. So good. And so they're standing there talking, and then Wyatt thinks it's funny to embarrass Doc probably because he calls Sheriff Bean over. And he says, "Oh, Sheriff Bean, do you know Doc Holliday?" And they have this little banter back and forth, and then all of a sudden some actions happen.
Right. And, I was thinking we could get a race dog track here.
And they're talking about how Tombstone is the next Paris.
Right.
And they're so sophisticated.
And then that shootout spills out into the street.
And Doc Holliday's kind of like, oh, so cosmopolitan. He's just calling Bean on his shit, right? But we are introduced to two characters that will come back to play later.
And we have, and at this time, we watch Marshall White, and he very amicably disarms the two. They're very cordial towards each other.
The two Jacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stagecoach pulls up, and out steps Josephine Marcus.
And one Billy Zane.
I was more excited about Billy.
Yeah, the performers come to town.
Mm-hmm. Who we actually got to go to a thing and see Billy Zane.
Yes, we did.
Convention.
And so the sweet music starts, and they are definitely looking at each other, and she's like, I wonder who that tall drink of water is.
And we know that,
I want one.
Yeah, totally.
Can I talk about the one camera shot as she's looking over there? There's a great camera shot where he and Doc are standing in the street, but you got Wyatt, and he's in the long overcoat, but he's leaning to one side.
Yeah.
And I just, that's one of those shots that I think of when I think of Tombstone. Him and Wyatt out in the street and how he looks, the way he's leaning. He just looks so cool.
Yeah. And I love the outfits in this.
Yes.
The duster jackets and the cowboy hats. And I want one. So, and I'm glad that you brought up shots, because what I noticed watching it again is they use a lot of forced perspective shots.
Yeah.
Where you have two subjects in frame and both in focus.
Yes.
So I think that was Kurt Russell. And so later that night, they are all at the theater. You have everybody. The Cowboys are there. The Earps and Doc are there. The sheriff.
It's very ruckus.
Yes.
I was bummed we didn't get to see the juggler.
I love that. And I was thinking, every time they celebrate, they shoot up in the air. That place should not have a ceiling.
Well, I was saying to my father who was watching the movie with me, I bet you that place leaks like a motherfucker.
That's exactly what I think every time. It's like, what is that like when one of those deluges shows up, and oh my gosh, that thing's got to be a waterfall.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Since I just brought up my father, I did want to throw out that he did say we finally picked a good movie to review.
Oh, well, thanks, Rick.
He really liked this one.
Good. I'm glad.
Had you seen it before?
He thought he had, but he had not. At least he didn't remember it.
So they're at the show, and Billy Zane comes out and does his St. Crispin speech.
Which I was in shock that they were actually liking. They seemed to be a little bit into him.
I kind of like that bit about it.
I thought they would have just shot him off stage.
Yeah, for sure. But no, the Cowboys kind of take a liking to Billy Zane's character, especially Jason Priestley.
Yeah, I think it's probably because they hadn't seen anything so sophisticated before.
I agree. And so they go along with it, because after his bit is the Faust bit, and they really enjoy that. And it turns out that Josephine played the devil, and Doc keeps teasing Wyatt about it. And so the show's over, everyone's leaving, and Wyatt and Morgan have to go to work because they're faro dealers at the Oriental.
And initially, Maddie, she's like, "No, come be with me."
He's like, "Go do your opium and go away."
Kind of.
What we get from this, we see that things are a little bumpy between the Mr. and the Mrs.
Yeah. So they're at the Oriental, and Doc and Wyatt are having a conversation at the bar.
What would you do if she walked in here? She? And then after that, yes, you know damn well who I mean. That dusky-hued lady Satan. That's who I'd probably eat. Anyway.
And then he's like, I wouldn't do a fucking thing. And Doc's like, okay, bud, because guess what? Here she is. And Billy Zane also comes in, and everybody's very accepting. And when she walks in, she starts dancing with a bunch of people. And then she goes to Wyatt to dance with her, and he refuses.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks so dejected.
Yeah. But that gets a callback later on in the movie.
Absolutely, it does. And Wyatt calls himself an oak or something.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, Doc does.
Yes, I stand corrected. You're an oak.
Yep. And then we cut to their Wyatt's dealing. We don't cut to, but Wyatt's dealing the game.
Right.
And in walks Curly Bill and Ringo and Ike. And Ike's running his mouth because they figured out who Wyatt is. And it felt like Curly Bill was walking up just to make sure that Wyatt wasn't going to start any shit because he was a lawman and the cowboys are outlaws.
Yeah, I think Curly Bill just wanted to check him out.
Right.
Lay of the land.
Yeah. But Stephen Lang, clearly drunk, right? Kansas law dog. Law dog doesn't come around here. And Wyatt's so cool. Yeah, I heard you the first time. Deals. Curly Bill wins $500. And like he looks at Ike and says, "Shut up, Ike, leave him alone." And they start talking about Wyatt being retired. And then Johnny looks at Doc and says, "You must be Doc Holliday. Are you retired too?" And this just starts a great confrontation between them both.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite scenes is the whole Ringo pulls out the guns and throwing around all the guns and doing all the fancy stuff. And then just the way that Doc Holliday responds to that.
With his cup?
With his cup.
Yeah. Did you know that they all practiced really hard on their gunplay and was really twirling them?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Val Kilmer, they say, was the fastest. So, yeah, it showed. Great work. Great work.
But it's a wonderful moment for Doc.
Yeah.
Because he captures the moment.
Because it's very tense. Right, because they're both speaking Latin, and everybody is on edge, and Johnny's pulling out his gun, whipping it around, but the cup bit diffuses it, and we can move on.
And we, the audience, are subtly amped up that much more in tension when we see what is underneath the table that we have Wyatt resting his hand on.
So good. His double-barrel shotgun.
That's tied to the bottom of the table.
Yeah.
I kind of got the impression here early on, and I thought they did a good job of this, of showing that while Ringo is at odds with Doc Holliday, you can kind of sense he's also in awe of him. It's almost like he wants to be Doc Holliday. Like that's where his goals are.
I can see that. I can see that, but I
like him,
right? But and I also think that there's that huge competition to be the fastest gunslinger in the West, right? So we cut to the next day, and Wyatt's out for a ride, and naturally he's got to run into
Josephine.
And
she does inquire about Wyatt in the bar the night before.
Yeah.
So we, the audience, are being told she might be a little smitten kitten with him, maybe.
Oh, I think her body language and her face tells us that.
Well, we, the audience, are certainly told that when the romantic music shows up, when she first locks eyes and he locks eyes with her, then the music is like, okay, here's our love story.
Yes.
Did you notice how much the director and writer, because we talked about Maddie and her drug addiction. Was it Maddie was his wife, or common law wife? Her drug addiction, and how much they tried to keep her out of the movie so that it didn't seem like Wyatt was being an asshole running around with this other woman.
Oh, I never took
and
it
flirting.
like that.
Like he's, two-timing this other woman.
Oh, I never took it like that. I thought
I didn't
I thought he was two-timing her from the beginning.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's the West, right? And whatever. So after Josephine and Wyatt run the horses, we cut back to Wyatt. He comes back to the hotel, talking to Maddie,
And she's high.
as a kite. And Wyatt's kind of still on cloud nine about being with Josie all day, and he tells Maddie, "Hey, why don't we get room service and we try to leave?
Pack up and go."
Let's go." And
She shoots him down.
yeah,
Which is showing us that he wants the life that Josephine can give him versus what Maddie can give him.
right. Chaos escalates when Curly Bill, high on opium, shoots and kills Marshal Fred White. Wyatt arrests him, but the outlaw is acquitted due to a lack of evidence. Frustrated, Virgil becomes Tombstone's new marshal, enforcing a weapons ban that sparks the legendary gunfight at the OK Corral, where the Earps kill several cowboys. In retaliation, the cowboys ambush Wyatt's brothers. Morgan is killed, and Virgil is permanently maimed. Wyatt, now a U.S. Marshal, vows revenge. He forms a posse with Doc Holliday and the others to destroy the cowboy gang. They begin a campaign of retribution, killing several outlaws. In a dramatic river shootout, Wyatt guns down Curly Bill, striking a major blow to the gang. And so we cut to an opium den, and Curly Bill's there, and we know no good can come from this.
And he's just tripping, and eventually he heads out to the streets.
And he starts firing his gun. We cut to inside the bar, and everyone's having a good time, and Sheriff Bean runs in and says, you got Curly Bill out here shooting his gun. Somebody better do something. And I like what the mayor says. Well, you're the sheriff. But due to technicality, Marshal Fred White has to go.
Well, I like how
Take
White
over.
just says, leave it alone.
He does. He says, you could just leave it alone. And Fred's like, no, I gotta go. I gotta go stop it. And you know right there.
Yeah. The smart thing to do would be to wait till you hear click, click, then you go out and confront him.
Yes. Hindsight being 20/20, sir. But unfortunately, Fred White goes out there and he almost gets Curly to give up his guns, but Curly Bill thought he was being funny. And I think he accidentally shoots Fred White.
Actually the verdict in court that the gun accidentally went off.
Yeah,
and
because
he claimed that, it really was an accident.
Well, before White dies, he tells the onlookers or whatever, this was a total accident. Mm-hmm. And Powers Boothe kind of plays it like that too, really.
Yeah.
Fred, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wyatt comes in and Cole cocks the fucker.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this scene.
When the cowboys show up.
This is a lot of fun because Wyatt's not backing down. And before the cowboys show up, the townspeople are like, we're going to lynch him. We're going to hang him. And Wyatt's like, no, you're not. He's going to go to court and stand before a judge. And then the cowboys come in and Ike's like, you let him go, law dog. And he rushes him. And then Wyatt.
When he puts the barrel to his forehead.
Just you, Ike. You die first. Everyone else might get me, but you die first.
He's bluffing.
No, he's not. It's such a good scene. And
here come the guys.
And Doc. I love this line. This is a great line too.
You're drunk. You're probably seeing double.
I got 2 guns, one for each of you. So good. And then Virgil and Morgan come rushing out and everything de-escalates. And the cowboys are like, we'll see you. We'll see you soon.
And then we get to hear that the case ends up being dismissed for Curly Bill because nobody saw it happen.
No witnesses there. Yeah. And this must be some time because at least a couple days later.
Right.
The whole time period from the start of the movie to the end of the movie historically should have taken 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. That's why this is a great condensed version of what happened.
So Wyatt, he ponders, maybe, they should open up their own place and they could make some real money.
And it's at this time Virgil's kind of being a little grumpy.
Yep.
He's still on Wyatt and Morgan's side. He's still not getting involved, but you can tell that he's getting a little bit more grumpy about the situation. And then the mayor comes in and he says, before you tell me no, would you do it? And then Wyatt, of course, says, no, I'm busy playing pool. And he looks over at Virgil and says, what about you? You were a lawman. You want to be marshal? And Virgil's like, nope. And the mayor gives him a guilt trip and leaves. And then we cut to, Virgil walking down the street and some nonsense and shenanigans happens. He saves a kid from getting ran over by a horse.
There was gunfire happening.
And then he sees the lady with the scar down her face. Yep. And I think that must be the last straw because we cut to a sign being posted into the ground saying you cannot carry your firearms within within town, and it's Virgil who's doing it, and he's got the badge.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this scene because Wyatt comes riding up, and he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck are you doing? We talked about this.
I told you no."
Yeah. And Virgil has a good point. We're trying to make money off these people, and at the same time, we're letting all of this bad stuff happen. And we've been lawmen before. I mean, that's what the Earps were from the very get-go. Wyatt's like, "Morgan, you talk to him." And I like
Oh, God.
yeah, he shows him the badge. He says, well, like you said, Wyatt, you got to back your brother's play. And so now Morgan and Virgil are marshals, and Wyatt's like, fuck, this is not going to be good. But here, and he gives him up his gun and takes off.
The next scene we get Wyatt. He shows up at the Oriental, and Morgan comes rushing over, and he's like, "We need to do something about Doc. He's been sitting here going for 36 hours straight."
And Val Kilmer does such a good job. I mean, he looks like he's been up for 36 hours straight. And he's playing poker with Ike and one of the other cowboys. And of course, he wins again.
12 hands in a row, I think is what they say.
Yeah.
The McClary brothers.
Yes, thank you. It turns out that Ike's getting a little mouthy, and Virgil's already in a bad fucking mood. So you poke the bear,
Yep.
it's going to happen. But the only thing that stops Doc from playing cards is he gets sick and passes out, right? Because the tuberculosis is kicking his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the woman he's with keeps feeding him drinks and cigarettes.
I didn't realize, but that was his common law wife, and she stayed with him.
Mm-hmm. Big Nose Kate,
Yeah.
although they never call her Big Nose in this movie.
Originally from Hungary.
And so they take Doc out, and Ike's still running his mouth. And I love when he smacks the bartender. "I don't take no lip from no bartender neither." Such a fucking drunk. And he backs up and he bumps into Virgil.
And he just clocks him.
And I mean, I guess that was the thing to do back in the day, was just pistol whip a motherfucker, right? I mean, I guess it's better than shooting him. And so they take Ike to jail to sleep it off.
We see Wyatt, he's getting himself dressed, and he finds a lot of bottles in the drawer. And he confronts Maddie about it.
And she's like, "Fuck off, I got headaches."
And she refuses to admit there's anything wrong. And then she just kind of sort of really lays into him. And she confronts him, and she's like, I will go with you. I will do what you want. But you have to tell me, standing right in front of her, that you have no feelings for that woman. Can you do that? And Wyatt just stands there.
Yeah.
And he won't say it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're watching Ike leave the jail the next day.
And the cowboys come pick him up. And that one, the Wyatt Earp, the distant relative, this is where
Billy
he comes
Claiborne.
in. Yeah. And he starts mouthing off to Wyatt Earp. And Wyatt Earp's like, "Easy, kid." And he gets all brave and shows him his gun, and gets cocked with his own gun.
You can shove your sorry right up your ass.
Yeah.
And I just love how Wyatt just immediately grabs his gun and does that.
Yeah.
So badass.
Yeah. He just takes no shit from nobody.
The craziest thing about Wyatt Earp, which this is historically accurate, in all the shootouts and everything he was in, he never got shot once in his life.
Not a scratch. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah. And so as Ike's leaving, he's all kinds of pissed, right?
Yeah.
And he's all butthurt and offended. And he tells the Earps, "You got to fight. You got a fight coming today." And they take off. And it's something about this line, Wyatt standing talking to his brothers, and yeah, maybe a fight's coming, but just in case, you better swear me in. And it's like he's joining the posse.
I like
it.
the scene where he goes up and gets the special gun.
Oh, his long Colt.
I guess there's a name for it. My dad told me the name of the gun, and I don't remember what the name
It's
is.
a Peacemaker.
No, there was actually, he named the gun.
Well, that's what it says on the handle.
Yeah. There's something, I can't remember what my dad said. So
Oh, Wyatt Earp named it, like
We're-
Betty or
yeah.
Martha. Or
was
something.
something-
Why
so-
did you say that name?
listeners, if you know what the name of the gun is, put it in the comments. I'd love to remember what that name was.
Everyone's screaming into their speaker right now. Look it up on the fucking internet, dork.
Or I could just ask my dad again.
I like that. Yeah, let's get Rick involved. Bring him on the show.
Well, when we do Cisco Kid, which is one of his favorite Westerns, maybe we'll bring him on for that. But he's going to look at you and say, "Can we not swear as much?"
And I will look at him and say, I will try.
And then we'll have your father sitting behind my dad giving you that look.
Shit.
The next shot we get is a wonderful forced perspective shot. Kate is outside listening to the prognosis that the doctor is giving to Doc Holliday in bed. It could be 2 years, it could be 2 days, nobody knows.
Yeah.
It's very endearing to listen to Kate and Doc going back and forth because they truly do have feelings for each other. But Doc, he's worried about Kate as he withers away, I think. And he's like, you should move on to greener pastures.
And she's like, no, you are my man. Here's another cigarette and hang on, let me take care of you. And, well,
That's a good woman.
you're not going to say no.
Yes, it's true. You are a good woman. But then again, you may be the Antichrist.
As she's,
Yes.
taking care of him.
Next shot we get. Oh, this is bad. 6 cowboys riding into town.
Oh, shit.
And I guess the issue with it is they're not turning over their guns is why Virgil has to go after them.
Right. And Wyatt's like, dude, it's a misdemeanor. Let them fucking sleep it off. They're drunk and then they'll leave. And Virgil's like, no, motherfucker, they are breaking the law. And if we can't have any type of law, then there's no law worth having.
Yeah, and ultimately he says to Virgil, stay calm and use your head. It'll be all right. Just the same, though. Guess you better swim me in.
I love that bit. Gives me chills. Like, oh, fuck, here we go. Right?
And then he goes home to grab the peacemaker.
And then they meet in the street. And as they're talking and deciding what to do, Doc walks up. And
Wyatt's trying to talk Virgil out of it.
and
Right?
yeah.
And here comes Doc.
And Wyatt looks at Doc and
It's
says,
not your problem, Doc.
well, that's a hell of a thing for you to say to me. And after he says that, you notice he goes stands with Morgan and Virgil.
Yeah.
It's like 3 against 1. And Wyatt has no choice but to say, all right, Virg, what do you want to do? And so, give Doc the shotgun.
And they start their walk, and then that burning house behind them.
How did that house start on fire?
Who knows? But the point is, it's a wonderful little backdrop to tell us this is what's coming.
Hell is coming.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And it's a classic shot. The 4 walking down the road, and then to break up the tension and give us some levity, a little kid pops out. That little motherfucker is lucky that Doc didn't blow his fucking head off. Tell me I'm wrong. And so they get to the back of the OK Corral, and Bean comes running out and says, don't worry, I already disarmed him. It's fine.
What a little weasel.
Because he did not. And they walk back and they see the 6 cowboys, and they all immediately reach for their guns. And Virgil's like, wait, whoa.
We're here to disarm you.
And I didn't want this, right? But there's a standoff, and
we get a close-up of their eyes.
And it cuts back from one to the other to the other. I love the wink.
Totally.
Improvised.
Absolutely. Also, his whistling down the street was too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that wink, and then Wyatt's reaction. Oh, God. Because he knows what's about to happen.
Yep. Here it comes.
And here's the shootout. What'd you guys think of the shootout?
Historically, I guess the OK Corral fight only took 30 seconds, which this took a little bit longer.
Well, yeah, we had to drag it out just a hair. Just a hair.
I thought they did a good job with the different camera angles, the different shots, showing people's faces as they're about to do something stupid.
Yeah.
That line that one of the cowboys gives to Doc, I've got you now, you son of a bitch. And then Doc's reply,
you're a daisy if you do,
was actually witnessed by somebody.
Yeah.
And apparently he actually said that during the gunfight.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I liked his response after killing the guy.
Well, you're no daisy at all. Yeah.
Behan comes out. All right, all of you are under arrest.
And one of my favorite lines is when
Wyatt walks up to his face.
I don't think I'm going to let you arrest us today, Behan.
Yep.
Really good.
What do you think of Ike being stupid, going through the window and then starting to shoot out the window? Like, first he doesn't have a weapon, but now he's got this rifle and he's shooting at them. I'm surprised he didn't get killed then.
Me too. And out of all of them who I wish would have gotten shot, he doesn't.
Yeah, he's like Return of the Jedi Salacious Crumb.
Oh,
the
yeah.
little mousy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to see him get it, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Josephine, she comes running out, and she has this wonderful glowing light behind her, and and then she spots Wyatt, and here comes Maddie. She gets to witness both of them staring at each other. Nice.
awkward, right?
Yep.
And then
Love the look that Doc and Wyatt give when they look at each other after the fight is over, right before they start walking up the street.
like, good job.
And
Thanks.
I got your back.
Yes. Yes. And then you get the score and they kind of
Yes.
walk away.
Yes. That, it's this unspoken bond that they have with each, that these two share with each other just with the look. It's so good.
Yeah, I agree.
Next shot we got is the funeral procession of the Cowboys.
Ringo's pissed. Everyone's pissed. They have that. They're holding a sign that says murdered in the streets of Tombstone and this, that, and the other.
Ringo wants blood.
He does.
And a little bit later, a very drunken Johnny, he confronts the Earps.
And Wyatt's like, I don't want to fight you, Ringo. And Ringo's like, I don't give a fuck. I want to play for blood.
And they turn and they walk away.
Yeah.
Right? They have their backs to him. But there's Doc sitting in the chair watching this unfold.
He does take out his gun. He's just kind of holding it there for a second. But when he gets out of the chair,
He puts it behind his back.
and then he says that fucking line,
I'm your Huckleberry.
and it's cemented in stone ever since.
So a Huckleberry is somebody that is known to be able to get a job done.
Yes.
He's your handyman that you can count on to rely on. The job will get done. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a sidekick is what I've read. Now, there was a rumor a long time back that it had something to do with Mark Twain and Huckleberry in the Tom Sawyer book always being there for Tom Sawyer as, his Huckleberry, but that's completely false. I read that is not true. It really was a widely used reference to being someone who is of aid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in a rage, Johnny, he's just yelling, I'll put you out of your misery. And then,
Same win.
yep.
Same win.
And then Curly Bill, he intervenes
Yeah,
and he
they stop him.
realizes this is going to go down
Yeah.
badly.
And he as he's pulling Johnny away, he goes, now's not the time, but don't you worry, we're going to get him. And I like what he says after he releases him. He says, I hate to think of what's going to happen when Ringo runs this outfit.
Which is foreshadowing.
Yes, it is.
Now it's nighttime, and Bihan, he comes to tell Josephine that after tonight, there's going to be only one man in charge of Tombstone.
We start with Josephine. She runs to the Earp's wives and gutsy, right? And she comes in to warn them that, something's going to go down. And then I completely forgot this scene even existed.
And then we see Virgil, he's heading home.
Right. And Morgan and what's his name? Wyatt are at the Oriental. And someone comes in and shoots up the Earp's house, but they miss. All the wives survive.
Well, the interesting, this shows, how kind of badass the women are because they get shot at and you notice they took it pretty well. They weren't cowering or screaming or hiding behind things. They were like, oh, well, someone just shot up the place.
Yeah, well, it is the Old West. They
That's
might
what
be
I'm
used to
thinking.
it.
And then we get Virgil, he comes back to the Oriental, and Wyatt's like, did you forget something?
Turns out he had been shot.
And I guess this happened on December 28th, 1881.
Hmm.
And I thought it was interesting. They talked about when they show him with the doctor and everything, and he's being worked on, they said that he'll be lame in his arm from now on. He won't have the use. Do you know what happened to his arm? Like why his arm was, besides being shot, what specifically caused it to be useless?
No.
They removed 4 inches of bone and his elbow.
Oh, well, there you go.
So that's why he lost complete use of his arm.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
That will do it. And Wyatt's, I like how he says, I told you this would happen. And Virgil's like, not now,
No.
dude.
Yeah.
And so Morgan's all pissed off. And instead of going to see if his wife's okay or if everyone else is okay,
He's just shooting pool.
he's going to go shoot some pool.
At first, when he stormed out, I'm thinking he's going to go try to find somebody. But no, I didn't realize he was going to play pool.
Yeah. And so when Wyatt goes outside, he sees McMasterson and the 2 Jacks right up. And McMasterson, Michael Rooker, was a cowboy and he said, "What happened to your women and all of this, I had nothing to do with. And here's my red sash. I'm done being a cowboy." And the two jacks are like, "If you need us for anything, let us know."
So we get the doctor trying to help Morgan, but it's not going well.
Well, first we're in that hole. He's playing billiards, and you see him get shot through the window. Like you see the bullet come in and get him in the back.
Yeah. And
which that actually took place March 18th, 1882. So it was, like I said earlier, it was months later that scene actually happened.
And so Morgan is bleeding out on the fucking table.
Which is a shame for that table.
That's fucked up, dude. Doctor couldn't get the bullet out. And so Morgan's pretty much fucked.
And I kept thinking, the guy's pretty much fucked, as you're saying, and you can't get the bullet. Well, if he's already fucked, go for the bullet anyway.
He couldn't find it.
He couldn't find it. It was too deep.
I thought he just said it was too deep.
Yeah. Well, it was too deep and he couldn't find it. So he had to give up. And Morgan dies right there on the table.
But I thought it was interesting because earlier they had a talk about religion, and he mentioned that he had read a book that you see a light, and it was kind of sad at the end when he made the whole comment of, "There's no light."
I don't see anything. It is sad.
Mm-hmm.
And Wyatt's devastated.
Wanders out to the street in the pouring rain.
Josie comes out.
Is that when there's
Maddie
thunder
comes
in the
out.
background?
Yeah.
Because I guess from what I read, that wasn't added in. That was actually happening during that scene.
So Josephine comes out and he tells her to go away. And then we see Maddie come out and then she turns away.
Yeah. You sleep the bed in, you make, right, Wyatt?
There was also something interesting that I read about this scene. You know, Wyatt Earp gets blood all over him and all over his hands, and he goes out into the rain, and you notice that blood does not wash off his hands.
Well, because it's mixed with a bunch of caro syrup.
Well, the director said that was on purpose to show that there is blood on his hands, that this is what it's done to his soul, and that there will be more blood on his hands. It was purposely meant not to wash away in the rain.
So now we have the Earps, and they are leaving town, and Curly Bill and Johnny Ringo, they're just sitting there looking on.
Which was kind of like what happened earlier
Well,
when the Cowboys were riding with their dead.
And first time I saw this scene actually fooled me because Wyatt basically says, "You win, we're done, I'm leaving."
I like what Curly Bill says. Bye. And then Ringo.
Smells like somebody died.
Jesus, Johnny. I like the chemistry between Powers Boothe and Michael Behan. It's good. It's good. And then Curly Bill says to Ike, "Take Sitwell and go to the train station and finish this motherfucker." And then we cut to the train station, and this is one of my favorite scenes. I really like this.
Because you think the Earps have all gotten on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stillwell and Clanton, they are thinking, we got the upper hands on this, and we're going to ambush them good.
Yeah, and I remember seeing this in the theater, and when I didn't see it coming, and when Sitwell says, "Hey, Maddie, where's Wyatt?" And you hear, "Right behind you." It was one of those moments in this movie where you go, "Fuck yeah," right? Because then we get that great speech.
All right, Clanton, you called down the thunder. Well, now you've got it. So run, you cur.
And tell the other curs the law is coming. You tell them I'm coming. And hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me.
Yeah, such a great speech.
And then we see that Wyatt, he now has Doc by his side, but he also has the two Jacks, motherfucker.
Yeah. In what
Turkey Creek and Texas Jack by him as well.
In what scene? I can't remember exactly. Was it this that Wyatt cuts Ike with the spur on his boot?
Yeah, because he's talking to Ike.
That was where fuck moment for me.
Yeah, and I like how he opens up his jacket and he says, "You see that, Ike? That says U.S. Marshal," which really means I can do whatever the fuck I want, and he does.
Yeah, which turns out wasn't really okay with the law. He got a few warrants out against him.
Oh yeah,
for all the killings of the Cowboys. And in fact, later on, we see Cowboys with badges. They ended up getting deputized to go after him.
Yeah, no, this is just straight up murder in this next montage bit, because this is the first montage of the Cowboys getting it.
Yep.
right? They're riding.
It's a great shot that we open up with. You get that red sky and that bright orange sunshine and the silhouettes of the riders coming towards us.
Yeah.
Great looking shot.
And this is very Hollywood Western as well. You know, he's riding into places and just shooting people cold-blooded style.
Yeah.
You know, and there's the opium
that was the coldest kill, I thought. You know, you see the high guy and the barrel, he puts his mouth into the barrel, and then the camera follows the barrel, and then we see it's Wyatt, and then we watch him pull the trigger.
Well, I love how the guy, when he puts the gun in the guy's mouth, the guy sucks on it like it's a
opium
pipe.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp did say, you know, from now on, I see a red sash, I'm killing the man wearing it.
Yes, he did. And he is. And then we cut to, they're at a riverbank.
Yeah, this is quite the scene.
Yes, and this really happened, I guess.
Yeah,
So
several eyewitnesses testified to that's how pretty much it went down.
yeah, they're in this river bend or this ravine, whatever, and they run into Curly Bill. And
now they're pinned down in a crossfire.
And they can't get out. And Doc's like, Wyatt, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I like how Wyatt just says, no. Gets up with his fucking shotgun, wades through the water, and Curly Bill's like, yeah, fuck, let's go. And he starts charging Wyatt and can't hit the motherfucker.
That was my thought is he the worst fucking shot in the West, or is he just high on opium?
It might be a little bit of both because he misses Wyatt altogether. And then Wyatt just walks up with the double barrel shotgun and just fucking unloads. No more Curly Bill. And then the rest rush up and
Gunfiring ensues.
And it's fucking crazy. More murder.
Didn't like one of the Jacks or something say, did you know he was going to do that?
And the other one says, I didn't even know that kind of thing existed. And this is where Doc gives that line about this isn't revenge. It's a reckoning.
Yeah, because Sherman, he says, well, if they were my brothers, I'd want revenge too. And yeah, that's where, no, make no mistake, it's not revenge he's after. It's a reckoning.
With Curly Bill dead, leadership passes to the cold-blooded Johnny Ringo, who challenges Wyatt to a final showdown. As Doc's health deteriorates, the group finds refuge at Henry Hooker's ranch. Ringo murders former cowboy ally Sherman McMasters and demands a duel. Doc, determined to end things, arrives at the meeting spot ahead of Wyatt and confronts Ringo. In a swift and deadly duel, Doc kills Ringo, ending the cowboy's reign. Wyatt and his posse finish dismantling the gang. Ike Clanton escapes, renouncing his red sash. Doc eventually dies in a Colorado sanitarium. Encouraged by his friend's final words, Wyatt reunites with Josephine and begins a new life. The epilogue reveals the fates of the remaining characters. Maddie dies in an overdose, Clinton is killed in a robbery attempt, and Virgil moves to California where he continues his law career. Wyatt and Josephine remain together until his death in 1929, honored by old friends of the West. Roll credits.
So we see a bunch of writers, and they end up stopping a stagecoach, and it's Sheriff Behan, and inside we've got Josephine, and she's holding a dead Fabian.
And this is where Jason Priestley kind of is like, you guys are fucking assholes. You guys suck. And Josephine's like, you guys are all monsters. These two dickheads were trying to take my watch. He tried to stop him, and then they shot him.
Yeah, it was your friends who did this.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't understand any of this. I just know it's ugly, and you're all ugly, and he was beautiful.
Yeah. And Ringo, mind you, is leading the charge at this time. And this is where they have their badges.
Yep.
Yeah. Was Josephine dating Fabian at any time, or were they? Because I got the impression at one time that they were a couple.
No, I never got that. When they get to town and she goes, oh, I want one of the cowboys. And he says, happy hunting. I figured they were just colleagues. That's just how I took it. And so we cut to Wyatt and his posse riding along. But, Doc don't look too good. And he starts tuberculosing it up. And they have to find shelter.
They show up to Henry Hooker's ranch looking for a place for Doc to rest.
Were you surprised to see Charlton Heston the first time you saw this?
Yes.
Totally.
It took me a sec to realize that's who that was.
And I smiled. Such a cowboy, such a man, Charlton Heston. And apparently this footage is the first footage that the original director shot. And this is the only thing left in the film that he did. So anyways, they're at Henry Hooker's place.
And the stagecoach shows up.
Because the horses need water. And it turns out that Josephine's leaving. But she gets to see Wyatt one more time.
Nice coincidence.
Yes.
But the sparks instantly fly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he says her name, but he can't say anything after that.
Well, what he does say is, he says, I'm sorry that and then she immediately says, I forgave you the moment you said it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she leaves, and he doesn't know if he's ever going to see her again.
And then we have Sherman. He goes to meet the cowboys, and he talks to Johnny. What do you want to talk to me about?
Yep. And he doesn't come back in such a good condition.
Comes back dragged.
Yes, from the horse. And it turns out that Ringo wants a duel with Wyatt at 7 by the old oak tree in St. Chuquicamata.
Well, Oak Grove at the mouth of the Silver Springs Canyon.
I knew you were going to have it. That's why I did that. And, Wyatt being full of emotions, like, yeah, I'll fucking be there, motherfucker.
And then Johnny tells Ike to take the guys and Creek Johnson and Texas Jack.
Uh-huh. And then we cut to Wyatt and Doc talking.
Yep, they're having a talk.
And this is like the classic, action movie trope of, I can't beat him, can I? Well, no, you can't.
Well, at least he's honest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but, I do like the way Doc responds. Wyatt, he's got a worried look in his eyes, and he explains why. What happened to Curly Bill? There was no time to think about it. I've had a lot of time to think about this. And then he asks the question, and then Doc just, no.
Yeah. Yeah. And, but Wyatt's going to face him anyway, because he's got to.
Well, he's a man.
He's Wyatt Earp. And Doc tells...
Before he leaves,
yeah.
Doc says, what's it like to wear one of those?
Okay, Doc. And so Wyatt gives him his badge. That badge said deputy.
No, he deputized him is what he basically did.
No, well, the badge itself said deputy, and Wyatt was wearing it. Does that mean Wyatt was a deputy?
I thought he was supposed to be a marshal.
That's what I thought too, but when he puts it on Ringo, it says deputy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, moving on.
This was a part that I didn't get the first couple of times I think I saw it for sure, was I know that Doc was kind of faking just how sick he was, but did he overhear where the meeting was going to be? Because how did he know to get to that exact place before Wyatt got there?
Buddy, I am with you, and this I just have to chalk up and accept, because Wyatt and the guys leave first, because Charlton Heston says if they come here, they got to go over us to get to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it appears that Doc gets there way earlier. And how does he know? How does he know where to go? Right? I'm with you. We'll chalk it up to movie convenience.
Yeah, and this whole scene between Doc and Johnny Ringo is made up for the movie. They don't know how Johnny Ringo died. He did die with a bullet to his temple in front of an oak tree, but
it wasn't Wyatt or Doc that killed him.
There's always been just rumors and speculation. An interesting thing I read about Michael Biehn for this movie, for the character Johnny Ringo, is he made sure that every scene he was in up until this point, you never see him blink, because he wanted everybody to know that Johnny Ringo is just that good. He's always so sure of himself. He's always steady, except when he confronts Doc Holliday. This is where the first time he blinks in the movie.
Huh? I never noticed.
Me neither.
Yeah. And so, and this is kind of an iconic scene as well.
Yeah, but I want to talk about, I think the reason why Doc was able to get there, if you look at how Doc is told where to go, his guys, the three of them, they are already there. And then you have one of the cowboys ride up to tell him where to meet Johnny. And so with that, I'm thinking maybe that gave Doc enough time to get to their location that he probably overheard from somebody, or maybe, who knows, he asked. But how does he get to that last quarter mile bit before that. But to get him there to the general site, I chalked it up to the guys were waiting for one of the cowboys to show up.
Oh, maybe.
But yeah, let's go to the duel.
I do like how Doc brings up the fact of, Ringo says, my fight's not with you kind of thing. And Doc basically says, we never finished what we started back in that saloon.
That's right. We never finished that game.
We didn't even bring up the line from back then where he's like, should I hate him, honey? And yeah, I think I hate him.
Oh, when they first met.
Yeah, when they first met, and that whole conversation. Well, now he's finishing the argument.
Well, the argument is from when he says he's a huckleberry and they want to play for blood.
Oh, okay.
That was before. But I hear what you're saying.
Right.
And so as we have Doc walking towards us, Johnny, he thinks it's Wyatt, but it's not until I'm your huckleberry.
And that look of fear
Yes.
on Ringo's face where he's blinking, I guess.
Mhm.
And finally he relents and he goes, all right, Holiday, let's fucking do this.
And what's great is it's the crazy eyes that we get from Michael Biehn when he's like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
He's got the great little crazy eyes look. It's like, all right.
Yeah. Now, I get that in a duel, it's who's the fastest, right? And I get that even drawing your gun crossbody is fast. What I don't understand is, doesn't the long duster you're wearing and the cigarette you're smoking kind of put you at a disadvantage?
You'd think.
But it looked fucking cool.
And they were so close to each other.
They really were. And
I love the way they just slowly walked around.
I loved how Val Kilmer would use his fingertips on the butt of the gun.
He would strum his fingers on the gun.
Yeah, I loved how because he does that throughout the movie, right? And then so finally he tells Biehn to say when. Notice he never does. He just reaches for a gun, drops the hammer, and boom, fucking shot to the head. And I love the little flip and right back in his holster.
Yep.
And then it's fucking over, right? And Doc knows it's over. He's telling him to die. Come on, just die.
And then we have Wyatt show up, and then I just love it. I'm afraid the strain was more than he could bear.
And Wyatt's confused. He doesn't understand. The last time he saw Doc, he was fucking dying in a bed.
Yep.
And Doc admits, well, I might not have been as sick as I said I was, right? And then
all right, let's finish it.
and this
Indeed, sir.
And this kind of kills it for me. And not kill it's the wrong term, but I mean this bit makes me laugh. More montage, it's more killing, and it's more killing of the cowboys, and they're chasing Ike, and he takes off his red sash and throws it in the air. And then
the handshake. The handshake.
Come on.
The writing
What's
side.
with the handshake?
Come on. I was watching it last night, and if you look really closely, I'm not sure if they're actually riding horses in that moment. They might be on a sled
They
or
look
something.
awfully close to each other.
Yeah. And but then we get the wide shots of them riding, and they look really good. And apparently the actors are the ones who rode the horses. So
I saw a continuity error this time around.
yeah.
Yep. It's right before Ike loses his sash. We get a brief shot of the horses running by us, and there's 5 horsemen.
Oh.
Sherman's in there. He's dead at this point, but they got 5 horses, not 4.
Right. So they used footage from the first montage
Yep.
and put it in the second montage.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that during this scene or the scenes of the montages, they needed some like Rocky music in the background.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But we get the iconic Tombstone theme. So that's got to be worth something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we cut to,
The Glenwood Sanatorium.
so Wyatt comes in and Doc's in bed, and
The priest is there.
and it kind of feels like this is one of Wyatt's normal visits. And Doc's like, you got to stop this, dude. Go live your life.
Go live your life.
I'm dying. You need to go live.
Go find that actress
He gets the cards out.
and do it for me. And Wyatt has the cards and starts playing and doesn't want to pay him no mind until Doc looks at him and says, really, if you had any feelings for me, if I was ever your friend, fuck off, go live and do it for me.
Did you read how they filmed this scene? How
Yeah.
they got Val Kilmer. Like, I don't know if it was his idea or what, but how they gave him the shakes and the white look and everything.
Yeah. He laid on a block of ice.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And you can see it in his performance. So
Now, there was something, he said a line at the end.
I'll be damned.
I'll be damned. Now, there's debate on whether the actual line should have been, I'll be damned, or isn't that funny? But do they say earlier on what that meant? Like, did they hint to it, or do you just have to know the history?
You just have to know the history. Because Doc Holliday was a gunslinger, he always assumed that he would die with his boots on. And when he looks down at his feet and he doesn't have his boots, he says, I'll be damned, because he's going to die without his boots. So
Apparently, he actually uttered that phrase right before he died.
Yeah. And then we cut to what I think we could probably have cut out of the movie.
It was a Hollywood ending.
It very much was a Hollywood ending. I think Robert Mitchum's narration at the end telling us that he ends up with Josie would have been just fine. But we cut to Denver and he goes in.
I probably didn't want to end on a sad note. They wanted to end on a happy, let's get back together note.
And it was a Disney studio, so that makes sense. And it's a callback to what you said earlier. Josephine asks Wyatt, what do you want to do first? And Wyatt says, the first thing you wanted to do when you met me. And you know where my mind goes. But it was a dance.
Well, of all the lines in the movie, there's some great quotable lines. This is the one that actually made me snicker a little bit, was when he says, I won't have any money, but we'll make do, and we'll, I'll give you everything I can, blah, blah, blah. And she just turns and goes, I'm rich.
My family's rich, which has never been confirmed. So I think that was a Hollywood ending.
They stayed together for 47 years up until his death, and they basically died penniless. They didn't have any money.
Yeah, 1929. Because after he leaves being a lawman, they go to California, and he does get into the Hollywood scene.
Yeah, he also becomes a boxing referee for a while. Yep. He does racetrack stuff. He opened up a bunch more saloons. They always kind of failed. And
John Wayne
was one of his pallbearers, I believe.
Him and Tom Mix. But John Wayne mirrored his whole persona after Wyatt Earp. So John Wayne, we get in the movies, the actor, he mirrored that after Wyatt Earp. So there you go.
Cool.
And that was Tombstone. All right. What do you guys think? You guys ready to rate this flick?
I'm ready to rate this flick. What about you, Johnny? Are you ready to rate this flick?
I'm your Huckleberry.
Hey, Professor, how do we do our ratings?
We do our ratings on a scale of 1 to 5 fucks. 5 fucks is a movie that we think is cinematic gold. A 1 fuck movie is one where you get done watching it, you're thinking, I'm never watching that again.
And what's a 0?
A 0 fuck movie is where you get done watching it, you turn to your buddy and you're like, oh, for shit's sake, what the hell? Why would you make me? I want 2 hours and 10 minutes of my life back.
Or in other words, we just don't give a fuck. All right, Professor, your pick, your review.
Tombstone is a fantastic Western for me. It is such an enjoyable watch. It has such a wonderful Hollywood feel to it. It's bright and clean. The music is fun. Delightful characters. Love Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, and having Sam Elliott as one of the quintessential cowboys. He just oozes cowboy machoism, and Curly Bill, so iconic with his bright red shirt. But Johnny Ringo, love Johnny Ringo so much, especially when he spars with Doc. There are so many wonderful Doc moments throughout the movie, and he's easily my favorite character in the movie because he has such a charisma and sophistication to him. And I think that he is written very, very well. And having the closeness that is apparent between Doc and Wyatt, you get that moment after the shootout where, why would you do that? Wyatt Earp is my friend. Hell, I got lots of friends. I don't. It's just so satisfying to, see Doc being Doc in this movie. The music works well. And I think that, when it comes to Westerns, this is definitely one of my favorites. I have several Westerns that I enjoyed so much because I do have a soft spot for the Western genre in general. And, watching it, it's been a couple of years since I've seen it, but it's enjoyable every single time I watch it. And the movie has many moments where it's, as it approaches, oh, I like this scene. Oh, this is really good. And so if you haven't watched it in a while, give it a watch because it is definitely a fun movie. I'm giving Tombstone 4.25 fucks.
4.25 fucks from the professor. All right, you or me there, guy.
I'll go next.
All right, you go next.
But before I do, Don, you want to guess my rating on this?
Sure. I think you were going to give Tombstone 3.25 fucks.
Is that your final answer?
God damn it. Why do you look at me like that? Okay, you're going to give it 3.5 fucks.
Is that your final answer?
Okay, 3.5 fucks.
3.5. I'm not usually a big fan of Westerns, but Tombstone easily cracks my top 5, maybe even top 3 of the Westerns I've seen. Kurt Russell absolutely owns the role of Wyatt Earp, but it's Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday that steals the show with every line. And the fact that Kurt Russell directed this movie makes it even more impressive to me. You can feel the effort to stay historically grounded, but also they're not afraid to embellish to make the story more fun. It's gritty, stylish, and quotable. And as the professor was mentioning in his review, you kind of see things and you look forward to things every time you see it. I had mentioned that, this is probably the third time I think I've seen it, and it gets better every time I watch it. So it's for those reasons I am giving Tombstone 4 out of 5 fucks.
Wow, I did not see that coming at all.
I did not either.
Well, good for you, comic book guy.
That's impressive.
I'm growing.
Oh.
Hey, what did your dad think of the movie?
He loved it. He said it was the best one of all, like I said, of all the ones that we've chosen so
Yeah,
far.
he said thank you for picking a good movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, well, I guess I will go.
You go next.
Thanks, buddy. Tombstone is a lot of fun. It is very much a Hollywood Western. The cast is spot on. I agree with both of you. Val Kilmer absolutely steals the show. Kurt Russell is solid as Wyatt. The rest of the supporting cast, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Powers Boothe, Michael Biehn, all did a great job. However, I do think that this movie is a tad bit too long with the style that it's presenting. The handshake's a little hokey. I am going to give Tombstone 3.75 fucks. With 4 fucks from the comic book guy, 4.25 fucks from the professor, and 3.75 fucks from myself, that gives Tombstone an average of 4 fucks, which now ties it in the 13th spot with Jojo Rabbit, V for Vendetta, The Iron Giant, Dodgeball, Zombieland, The Thing, Edge of Tomorrow, Clerks 2, and The Batman. It is slightly better than The Nightmare Before Christmas, Arrival, The Descent, Moonrise Kingdom, and The Suicide Squad. It is slightly worse than Violent Night, Clerks 3, The Sandlot, The Fifth Element, Spider-Man No Way Home, Meet the Parents, Big Fish, and Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I would say that's about right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good spot for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So now let's rate your favorite 5 mustaches
In order?
in this film.
Would you like me to go first?
Sure. Why don't you go first?
In the number 5 position, I'm putting Johnny Ringo. I just thought he had a good mustache, but he was not the best mustache in this movie.
Hence 5.
Yeah.
Got it.
Followed by Powers Boothe.
Curly Bill.
Curly, I thought it was a good mustache. Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell. Number 1 has to be the mustache man himself, Sam Elliott.
Yeah. There you go. What about you?
I didn't pay any attention to mustaches because I've never grown a mustache. I can't grow a mustache.
A little bit of mustache envy.
But in no particular order, I thought that, Wyatt's looked pretty good. I thought that Doc's looked pretty good, and Virgil looks pretty good. But I thought the one that would probably end up with me, Billy Breckenridge.
Jason Priestley's?
Yep.
Oh, you'd look cute in that one there, Professor. For me, my number 1, without a doubt, I'm with you, bud. Sam Elliott, for sure. My number 2 is Curly Bill. I like the look of it. Number 3, Johnny Ringo. Number 4, Wyatt. And number 5, Doc. So there you go.
So regarding when Doc was dying, I thought this was an interesting quote from Wyatt Earp that he said in an interview. I found him a loyal friend and good company. He was a dentist whom necessity made a gambler, a gentleman who disease made a vagabond, a philosopher whom life made a caustic wit, a long, lean blonde fellow, nearly dead with consumption, and at the same time the most skillful gambler and nerviest, speediest, deadliest man with a 6-gun that I ever knew.
Oh, well, there you go. All right, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Three Guys in a Flick. If you would like to know which movie we're going to be reviewing next, please check out the website. Speaking of which, hey, John, where can they find us?
They can find us at threeguysinaflick.com, where we post our show notes. All of our podcasts are available, and anything else we feel like putting on that site. There's also a web form on there that you could submit a movie you would like to go into the Bronco helmet to have us review down the road. You can also find us at all of social media, where I've actually started posting on Tuesdays the movie we will be releasing on Thursdays. And you can find us at anywhere that hosts podcasts. And while you're listening to us, give us a comment, give us a like, subscribe, and you can even leave us a comment of a movie you would like us to review next.
All right. I just want to say again, rest in peace, Val Kilmer. Thank you for all the years of entertainment and all the great characters. You will never be forgotten, clearly, because, I mean, you were one of a kind. So I also want to thank anyone else who listens and who has submitted a movie. If you keep listening, we'll keep recording. For Three Guys in a Flick, I'm Don.
I'm John.
And I'm Ken. Thanks for listening. You're a daisy if you do.
Three guys with some mics, yeah, got into the flicks. We're here for the real talk, no time for the tricks. Don as the captain, steering us right. Kid drops now to shedding light. John with the comics, bringing the hype. From the good, the bad, to the absurd, we break it down, make sure you heard. Passion for the screen, we ride or die about movies. You know we always give a fuck, no lie.
When we open.
Yes.
So what's our opening quote doesn't have to be Doc.
Well, it's in honor of Val Kilmer.
No.
Piss on you, Wyatt. I know. Make the face. I think it's funny.
You said not too shabby is where you ended.
Well, he didn't use the word shabby.
No.
You guys are killing me.
I don't know how many times I've been sitting somewhere that you've come up and said, you're sitting in my chair.
I don't think I've ever once said that to you, sir.
All the time.
Do you recall me saying that to him?
No.
Okay.
I recall you smacking me at least once.
Smoke that skin wagon and go to work.
I don't know.
Oh, smack and jerk something there, bud.
Yeah, I will.
I gotta save that for later. What's your question? And why are we making this longer? What?
Apparently that laudium or whatever it's called,
Laudum.
was a common thing that women used for headaches and menstrual cramps back then.
Yeah, do you know what laudum is?
Opium.
Yeah, liquid opium.
Mm-hmm.
That and real cocaine, Coca-Cola. So, God, what a time to be alive.
But if you think about it, if he had never gotten the tuberculosis, he would have never gone to that drier climate. He would have never met Wyatt Earp. They never would have become friends.
And had the Titanic never hit the iceberg, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet would have lived happily ever after. But if I am in the mood to watch a more Godfather-esque type film, I will watch Wyatt Earp. I think that Wyatt Earp's a better movie. I give Wyatt Earp 4 points. Shit.
Wrong movie.
Yeah, I know. That gives Tombstone an average. All right, it's that time. What do you got?
Well, do you have the one I said earlier?
Yes, because I completely stole that. Tombstone, but I'm going to alter it a little bit. You know what I'm going to call it now?
Probably what I had written down, but go ahead.
Tom's Bone.
Tom's Bone. Okay. I had poon boned. I had womb boned. And I had, because I kind of let it slip earlier, I had tomb boner.
Ah. What do you got?
Tim's Stone Bone.
Oh, he incorporates the opium.
Did you have any other ones?
No, not at all. All right, may all of your days and nights be filled with happiness. All right, fuck up. Good night.
With laughter and debates, we hit the sky. So tune in, feel the thrill, catch the vibe. As three guys in a flick, keep the passion alive. Fuck